Hello everyone and welcome. It's Shanna. Now we are going to be working with the club kits today, and I have got the Betterpress Club, and it is the Harbor Weave Betterpress. And I have got the Glimmer of the month, and this is the Castaway. And it came with some opal foil. I'm actually going to use silver with it today, and I have got the clear die stamp and die of the month, and it is called Anchors Away, and you've got all of these nautical sentiments, and you've got coordinating dies for almost all of them. And then I am bringing in my cruise ship die that was part of the Weekenders kit, and it is called Deckside Dreams. I'm also bringing in this shimmer that was part of the kit as well, and I've already shimmered up this panel. Now, if you didn't get the Weekender kit, you will be able to get that Deckside Dreams cruise ship after the 10th of the month. They're going to release that product as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to glimmer, and we're going to betterpress, we're going to stamp, we're going to die, we're going to create a couple cards, and they're going to be very different cards. I'm going to go with a couple different color schemes. I had this blue, this is where I'm just bringing in some silver foil that I had in my stash, and this is one that the grandkids have rolled and unrolled, and so I cut off a good strip of it that I'm going to toss. That way I'll have a good clean panel here to use. And I'm going to use that blue splattered panel there. That was actually homework for the Weekender weekend that's upcoming. And I had it and I thought I want to use it for this. And I can just make another one for the Weekender events that are coming up. I'm doing this video here in advance of club time, but just getting it ready. So I'm going to do one of my little tricks here that I do when I'm stamping. I've put the Glimmer off to the side, allowing it to heat up, and I thought I'd go ahead and stamp our images while we're waiting for that Glimmer to heat up. So I'm going to just do my little trick here where I'm going to bring in a big sheet of paper. I'm going to get the whole stamp set laid down on my MISTI so that I can just stamp everything out at once. I'll have all of my sentiments and everything ready to go, and then we can die cut them out. So I'm just going to take some packaging tape, which I'm looking for right at the moment. I'm going to tear off a big strip, and I'll lay it down on my stamp set there, give it a good press. It's a good amount, so stick it. And it'll just pick the whole stamp up at once. And I gave it an extra push so that it'll stay on that tape. And then I'm just going to ink everything up at once and stamp everything out at once. It's just a hack that I have done for quite some time. When I want to get everything on a stamp set stamped out all at once. It just saves time, and then I can just, lay all my dies down and die cut it out. Now, not every sentiment in this set has a die. The straight line ones don't, but most of the other ones do. There are several dies that go with it, and then you have the anchor as well. And so I'm just going to give it several pressings and get it stamped up real nice, and then we'll be ready to go. Meantime, the Glimmer is heating up off to the side, and when the green light comes on, we'll bring it in and we'll push the button for the timer, and we'll get it glimmered up. So you've got ahoy matey, just all kinds of fun sentiments. Let me see, we've got thanks for lighting the way, party like a sea captain, happy birthday, you are the captain of your destiny, just saying hello, from the crew, from the high seas, you're the calm in my stormy seas, thinking of you from the edge of the world, seize the day and make it amazing, and on and on. Lots of sentiments. So here I think I've messed this up. When I laid it down, it shifted, and you can see the Glimmer, the foil is not on the Glimmer plate, and everything shifted, and I just thought, I'm going to line it up and give it a shot. And amazingly enough, it was just fine. So I wasn't sure, but when I do the reveal, it turned out beautiful. Look at that shine. I think the opal would have been really pretty on this as well, but I just grabbed the silver and used it, and we're going to use it. Now, it's kind of like a netting, or I don't know, what's it called? It's called Castaway, like you would cast your net out and bring it in. But I thought it'd be fun. Now, this is the Betterpress. So I've moved the Glimmer plate off to the side. Now the Glimmer plate did come with some sentiments as well. I'm not using those because I've got the stamp set. And I'm going to bring in another piece of, this is my watercolor paper. I don't have any cotton paper from Spellbinders for the Betterpress, but I find that my Canson watercolor paper will work well with the press. And so I've got this Harbor Weave Betterpress plate, and I made the panel larger than an A2 size card so that I'd have room for my tape, and then we'll trim it down once we get it all stamped up. So I'm just going to tape it to the cover plate, and then we'll get this laid down on there. And I'm going to bring in 3 different colors of Betterpress ink and kind of make almost an ombre look for this. So we'll just get it laid down on there, and we'll get it inked up. So I'm going to use saffron to begin with and kind of do the top portion of it. I'm just getting it inked up. I probably have a grandkid off to the side that's distracting me. That's why I paused. And then I'm going to bring in, I can't remember what this medium color is called, but it's like a mid color of brown. And then I'll bring in bark. And we'll just get this pressed. And so we're going to have 2 very different colors. We've got a blue panel, and now we've got kind of a brown tones panel that we're going to use. So our cards are not going to be matchy-matchy like I normally try to do. And we just kind of did like an ombre from the top down. And we're going to give this a press. And we'll just press this with our Spellbinders, and we'll take a quick look at it. Get my inks out of the way. And here we go. It inked up very nice. There's one little speck kind of in the center that I was noticing, and I took the tape and tried to pick it up. I felt like it was like a thread from my ink, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to have, a lot of stuff laying on this panel. So we've got our 2 panels, and now we're going to get to assembling our first card. And what I've got here is the Deckside Dreams, and we're going to have a cruise ship on both of our cards, and we're going to have 2 different looking cruise ships. So I went and grabbed my Spellbinder scraps, thinking I had some red pieces in here that I could use for this ship because I thought the red would look nice on the blue, but I didn't have, the only red I had had several die cut pieces out of it. So I'm just going to bring in a panel of poppy, and we'll use that for our cruise ship colors. We're going to make a red, white, and blue ship is what we're going to do for this. We just celebrated Memorial Weekend, and we had our red, white, and blue clothing on, and I thought it'd be fun to just make a red, white, and blue ship. Additionally, I did this because we cruise pretty regularly with the Carnival, and they're red, white, and blue colors. And so I decided to make a ship that looks like that. So I'm just going to get all of my pieces of cardstock out here. I needed some white, and I knew I had enough. I had some at the bottom of this stamp set, and so I thought I'd measure it, see if I had enough, and I'd cut it out, and I did. So we'll use that, and we've got the smokestack that I'm also going to want to lay down there, the smoke that's coming out of the smokestack. So we'll lay that down on there, and then I'm going to do the smokestack in blue, and these are the wave pieces that you can catch your water with. I'm not going to use them on these particular cards because we've got those decorative background panels that we're going to use. I'm going to let those kind of shine along with the cruise ship, and we'll just start getting everything die cut out. So I brought in my Spellbinder 6. I probably could have used my Scout with them because these dies are small enough, but I thought I would just lay several things down at once and just die cut several things at a time and just make quicker die cutting with it. I won't, for some reason, I don't get the plate on there right and get the front of this red piece die cut out fully, and I'll have to run it back through again, but we have other passes that we have to make with our machine anyway, so it won't matter. But here's where I realize that I got the strips out, but that front of the ship did not fully die cut. So I'll just lay that back down on my plates and run it through again, and it'll be fine. If you get it lined up and you've got a nice, embossed area there where you can feel it kind of snug back up in there. And so that's what I did, and I'll run it through again, and it'll be good to go. And I'm running the strips through on both the blue and the red because I'm gonna alternate blue and red strips, those strip pieces that are laying down there. Now this is kind of the decorative part of the ship, like the windows of the rooms or the whatever it is. And I ran it through with the outer or the inner piece, and I didn't run the outer piece through, and I realized that I need to run it through. And I thought I would suggest to you that you make sure you put them together when you do that, but I actually put them together when I did it the last time, and I got a better frame doing it this way. So regardless of which way you do it, just make sure you line it up really well. But this, for me, worked better than when I laid the two pieces together and die cut them out, because I could see better the embossed edge there, and then I could get this frame laid around it, and I got a more equal frame all the way around it than what I did when I ran them through together. And I'm doing the smokestack a second time. I'm going to make a second card in which I'll need the smoke, but my colors of my ship's going to be different. So I've got two of those, and I think we've got all the pieces for this particular ship. So this is a fun ship. It's got the red panel there, has got, well, you'll see when I go to do it. I'm going to assemble this part here. And this is where I got an even frame on both sides of those slats. And then on the one that I do next, it's not quite as even as this one was. So I think it kind of worked in my favor that I did it in two passes. Anyway, we'll get some glue laid down on here, and then we'll get to working on the other. But anyway, the front of the ship has a score line in the center, so you can kind of bow it up a little bit, and then it's got two flaps that you're going to glue down, and so it will have quite a bit of dimension to it when we get it laid down. And you'll see that as we go. So here we go. I've got them, and I'm bending these are the flaps that you're going to adhere it to your card base with. And then you bend the center, and then you've got some good dimension there. I'm going to use some double-sided tape for adhering this, because I think it'll just adhere better. We can throw some glue on there too. But these are the decorative strips, and I'm going to go red, blue, red, and that's why I went ahead and die cut out the three strips twice, so that I would have two different color options to work with. And I'm trying to get this glue flowing. And we'll get this bigger piece laid. Actually, this is the medium size. There's like a small, medium, and a large. And the small one's on top, the large is in the middle, and the medium is on the bottom. And so I'll take the long one of the blue, and we'll get it laid down in the middle. This really, there's only 8 dies to this particular set. It's a pretty quick assembly. Sometimes, some of the dies we get from Spellbinders takes quite a bit more assembly, but this one's fairly quick. And I think you get a lot of interest with just the 8 dies. It really makes for a nice focal point. So we'll get this red piece laid down there, and we've got this part assembled. And we've got, those extra red and blue strips laying there that we could use for something else. Just getting everything lined up nice and neat. Now this is a smokestack here, and I chose to just do it in blue. I was kind of keeping my colors to a minimal. And my little red strip moves, so I'm going to grab it and get everything lined back up. I'm kind of out of frame here, but there we go. Now we've got the smokestack on there. Now we just need to add the smoke. Now you probably could do this in gray or add some gray color to it or whatever, but again, I'm just kind of keeping my red, white, and blue theme going here. And we'll just tuck that in behind our smokestack. And there we have it. So we've got our cruise ship and we're ready to set sail. So I've got this panel that I use that blue spray on, and then I use the Glimmer plate on it. And I'm just going to trim it down. I think I go to 5, I don't know. I think I do 5 1/4 by 4, or actually maybe I go down to 5 and then I do 3 3 3/4. Or maybe it was 5 1/4 by 4, I think. Anywho, yeah, it is, because I've got just an A2 size panel there. And I'm going to use that red that I die cut those pieces out and make the most of my cardstock. This is Spellbinders Poppy cardstock, and Spellbinders cardstock is heavy duty, and it's a little bit more expensive because it is better quality cardstock. I love it, and I do use it for card bases, but usually I will, kind of gut them out with dies and stuff so that I can make the most from it. I like their colors and I like the weight of it. So we'll get it lined up on our card base. I think my card base just has a fringe there that I need to trim off, just a little edge. So I'll bring in my Spellbinders guillotine and just give it a quick little snip, and there we go. Now we're just going to lay our glimmered panel down on there. I think it's gorgeous. And we'll get our ship laid down on here and we'll pick a sentiment for it. And now we're going to bring in our Deckside Dreams. We need to get it lined up on there straight. So we'll get it lined up and laid down on there. And we'll get this one assembled, and it's going to go pretty quickly. Then we're going to move on to the second card. And don't worry, I've pre-assembled the pieces, so you won't have to watch me do that again. But it's going to be a very different color scheme. This is where I'll bring in the double-sided tape. And it's a little bit wider than my little flaps. So we'll just kind of roll it on top of itself, and it won't be a problem. I always like to give my tape a press so that the back piece will remove. And this is where I'll just take the extra that's hanging off and just kind of roll it over on top of itself. And we've got good sticky there. And we're going to add a little bit of glue on both sides so we'll have some good adherence. And we're going to get this laid down on our card. And I love the colors. I love the red, white, and blue. I think it really looks pretty. And then you've got that added silver with that castaway glimmer plate. And I think it looks really nice. Now we're just ready for a sentiment. I've got a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to clean up with my glue eraser. And I just need to figure out what sentiment I want to use. So I'm going to bring them in. And you can see I've got them all on there just as they were on the stamp set. And I'm going to get all of my dies laid down on here and get them all cut out. I'm not going to make you watch all that. I think I lay a couple of them down. Yeah, we go straight to the end. We've got them all there. And then I'll just run them through the die cutting machine. And we'll get them all die cut out at once. And then we're going to have a good selection of sentiments to choose from, if I can get it rolling. And there we go. So you can see there's, looks like maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 or 6 sentiments that don't have coordinating dies, but they're straight ones. You can easily straight line cut them. But all of the ones that are kind of shapely, they've got all the coordinating dies that go with them. So if you've got any cruisers in your family or friends, this is a great set. I believe I make 2 birthday cards with these today, and we'll get good use of this die set because we have done, like I said, a lot of cruising, and we run with a bunch of people that cruise too. When the kids were in school, we'd cruise with about 50 or 60 people from our town. We would all get on the same ship and go and cruise. So we've got lots of friends that enjoy cruising and have been on many, many cruises. So this just really kind of speaks to us, I should say. So we've also got Seize the Day. I don't know if I mentioned that one. That was another one. Thinking of you from the edge of the world. There's a simple hello in there, and many thanks from the salty sailor, but lots and lots of them. I'm going to go with the 2 birthday ones. One is party. For this card, I go with Anchors Away to an Amazing Birthday. That's what I'm choosing to lay down on there. And we'll just get it laid down on there. I'm going to kind of go across that smokestack and lay it down. And then I'm going to get this anchor, and I'm not even going to color it in. I'm going to leave it black and white and just put it on our ship like that. And I think we've got a great card here. Very pretty. Love it. Came together pretty quickly. Now we're going to go on to our second one, and like I said, I'm going to have some of it assembled already, so it won't be, too challenging. And we're going to go with this brown tone. We've got, those Betterpress inks that we use, so I'm just going to bring in a brown panel that's A2 size, and then we'll cut our Betterpress panel down to fit on this. And I made it larger, and so it needs to be cut down as well. Now, I had another just tiny little fringe of white sticking out there, so I got rid of it. It was just a tiny little bit. And then we're going to cut this panel down. This is a fun background panel as well. Evidently, I already cut it down. I was trying to get as much of it done as I could so that you wouldn't have to, watch me redo all the things that we did on the first card. So we've just got a little frame all the way around there, and I've assembled a orange and brown and I think cream colored ship. And this orange, it's really like a coppery, and it is specialty paper in that it's a mirrored cardstock. And so we've got all the shine on there. And I thought it would just look nice on this panel with the kind of gradient color we had going there. And so we'll just get it lined up on there. And again, we'll get our ship, I don't know, is that I can't remember is that the bow of the ship? It would be the forward, I should say. I don't know what that's called, but anywho, I should know that. I'm going to pull, I'm sure I have a friend that will tell me what that is. Tuck this tape on there and roll it back just like I did the other one, and then we'll add some glue, and we're going to get this laid down here with some dimension. We've got our little score line bin up there. And the closer you put those edges together, the more it's going to pop up. So you just have to decide how much you want it to pop up. And if you really want it to stick, you could put some foam tape underneath there to kind of keep it up, but I didn't. And there we go. So we've got our second card with our ship on there. And again, I'm going to make this one a birthday card. And so I'm going to choose the sentiment that says, "Party like a sea captain, happy birthday." I'll get that laid down on there. And then I will also decide to add ahoy to it. I can't hardly speak. So this says, "Party like a sea captain, happy birthday." And then I went to move those aside, and I saw that ahoy, and I thought, we've got to put that ahoy on there. So I just grabbed it, and we'll get it laid down on there. And we have got 2 super fun cards using the Glimmer of the month, the Betterpress of the month, and the clear stamp and die of the month. And I think they're fantastic, along with our Deckside Dreams ship. So thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.